Hey everybody, it's Kyle Daniels with Strand Hill Properties, bringing you the Hill Report, long-awaited Hill Report for the week ended last week, March 27th, 2026. This is really my first first report of the year, so I apologize for those that have, and a few of you have said, hey, what happened to the market reports? Well, I got to be honest with you. One, I was really busy. I changed brokerages. Some of you might have noticed, and now it's Strand Hill Properties. But also, we had kind of a slow start to the year. There was not a lot of activity to report. So, there were details to talk about, but we'll cover some of that right now. And I just want to talk about the overall market as we end the first quarter of 2026. So let's jump in with the numbers here. I'm going to go through the normal format so you can kind of see what happened the last week. Then I'll talk about the big picture. But last week we saw 17 closed sales. That was an increase from the weeks before. So finally hitting kind of normal numbers here. It took a while. These are things that obviously went into escrow probably in mid-February or so. And based on the days on market, that's pretty accurate. We saw 7 go over list. So that's been an uptick since we ended last year. And we had 10 sell at a discount. Again, there's some inventory that's been lingering, so no surprise there. But the thing I want you to pay attention to, we had 98% of the list price. So that was the average. So we're seeing a pretty tight, list price, close price, which means I think a lot of the sellers are very efficient right now with their pricing. We haven't seen that. What happens, people see a few record sales, they price things up, sits through the summer, and then we start to see discounting as we go later in the year. But right now we're seeing a very efficient list the house, sell the house, and stay pretty close to the list price. I know that's true from my experience. I've had 3 Valmonte sales this year, and they all sold right at the right around list price. So 2 for buyers right at asking, and then 1 listing that we sold just a hair over the list price. So again, good activity this week with closed sales. Now we saw 25 new listings. That's a big increase. We're finally seeing that 100 sales a week or listings throughout the South Bay. The median price is $2.45 million. So that's, again, good numbers. We saw 17 new escrows. That's a big jump. They're averaging about 26 days on market, and that median price is at 2.2. So going back to what's going on in the market versus what's selling, there's a gap there. We're off by about $300,000. So we'll see how that plays out. List price, we're seeing things go into escrow from 1.5 million to about 10 million in the single family homes. We saw 12 price reductions, and those are things that have been on the market since last year in most cases, 148 days on market. We saw 4 things fall out of escrow and go back to the market. In fact, 1 more over the weekend. So that's 5 that I know of. So again, sort of normal activity, nothing crazy. Those pandemic years have obviously are behind us, but we're seeing sort of activity that we saw in 2019. The difference is we don't have as much inventory. So the pricing's a little bit tighter. Overall activity's up. Sales really are kind of 2 million and below seem to be the hot spot. We're seeing multiple offers on those lower priced homes. A few on the higher price, but those do slow down as we go up over 2 million. One thing I want to note is we're seeing a very active millennial buyer. Now, there was all this stuff, millennial buyers won't buy homes and they're going to live out in Joshua Tree and all that funny stuff. But I'm seeing a ton myself, a lot of younger families. They're growing their families. They have 1 or 2 kids, maybe a kid on the way, and they want to get established. A lot of people are returning to the office full time. So we're seeing that PV market pick up. Manhattan Beach has been bonkers if we want to compare. A lot of those people I think are coming down from the Palisades and settling into the South Bay after losing their community up in the hills there. So good active spring market. I expect it to continue. We're hitting spring break this next week, so I think we'll see probably a slowdown in numbers. But overall for this year, we've had 92 sales. Nothing crazy. That's a pretty slow start to the year, to be honest. Median price, 2.15 million, 35 days on market. So things are turning over quickly. I'd call this a slight seller's market. However, we've seen a little uptick in interest rates. It may take some wind out of the sales. Overall inventory on the hill, 124 properties. That's pretty normal. Nothing crazy, not robust numbers, but the median list price is over 3 million. So there's a big gap. So we're seeing stuff that comes on the market in the low 2 million range is selling quickly. Stuff that starts pushing over 3, taking a little bit longer, maybe sitting on the market. Some of it's still selling. We're seeing, like I said, escrows up to $10 million. So it's out there, people trophy hunting. But most of the activity tends to be in that, low $2 million range, which is still a lot of money, but compared to the overall, median list price in PV Estates right now is 4.5 million, 6 million in Rolling Hills. We get back to Rolling Hills Estates, comes down closer to 3, and then RPV is 2.5 for single family homes. So again, 4 months of inventory, that puts us, again, I'm giving it a slight lean towards sellers, but if you're listing higher end stuff, maybe it's more of a buyer's market still. So there's your report, finally caught up. Again, switch brokerages. For those that care to ask, I'm happy to talk about it, but me doing the same thing here. I got my office, we're back to the market updates, and happy to represent you and your needs out there for real estate. So thanks for watching. If you want to share this, I know I went longer than normal, but please share it with your friends. And thanks for watching. Have a great week. And if I don't see you, happy Easter. Take care.